What's going on, people? It's your man, the YB, back once again. So, Dillian Whyte has been found after disappearing and falling off, similar to John Fury. And he's called out Derek Chisora. Here we go. Dillian said, "Stop horsing around." Dillian Whyte shares footage of famous KO of Chisora and calls for trilogy fight with Derek Chisora. Let's find the actual. It was a tweet basically. Dillian Whyte wrote on Instagram, "Hey Derek, stop horsing around and let's do the fight. I'm not interested in talking. I'm just interested in putting you to bed again. Forever a donkey." I mean, this fight, to be fair to Dillian, this fight is one of the fights in my realm. I've been begging. It's not really the one I want, to be honest. I'd rather see Whyte versus Joyce. Something about, I know, listen, Chisora beat Joe Joyce, okay, but watching it though, it was painful to watch. Even though Chisora got the knockdown, it was painful to watch, man. He was gassed after 2 or 3 rounds, which really shows how useless Joe Joyce is. I don't know. Maybe I'm an empath. I'm empathetic, towards Joe Joyce. I think Joe Joyce deserves some bread now. Chisora, he had 2 of them fights. And yes, he knocked Joe Joyce down, but I'd rather, for example, Dillian Whyte go in there and knock Joe Joyce out completely. Spark. Right? And at least Joe Joyce gets some retirement money. Chisora, for me, just looks... He's had too much now. He's had even Joe Joyce was useless in that Chisora fight, yeah, completely useless. Couldn't do nothing. So slow, no power, useless. And Chisora knocks him down, and then even the commentator said, "Whoa, Chisora just scored a knockdown," and it's Chisora looking like he was the one knocked down. He went straight back to the other corner and cowered. It was something, I don't know, man. I just didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. He's got no gas tank, and it looks like he's surviving. After 2 or 3 rounds, it looks like he's in there just surviving. I don't really want... I'd prefer Chisora to retire. Really, it's a shame. Even though I did think... I've had Chisora... I won some money on it, actually. I only put a $5 on. But I did think Chisora would win against Joyce. I think Joyce is shot. After watching that Cash Ali fight, after watching Joe Joyce go life and death with Cash Ali, I thought, no, he fell off. It's over for Joe Joyce. But yeah, Chisora, I don't know, man. I don't know. I guess Dillian wants it because it's a big UK derby, allegedly, but it's just too long. He's too long in the tooth now. He needs to really... Turkey should get Chisora and say to him, man, you need to retire. He's never been... Chisora's been taking damage since he started. Yeah, Chisora was having hard fights with Tyson No Power Fury 15 years ago. And every fight's been hard like that. I just don't really want to see it anymore. As much as... And it's not even like his fights are that entertaining. It's just him on the ropes, cowering away. He's not like he's coming forward and swinging away. He's gassed. So it's, yeah. And again, even in Chisora's prime, he was gassed. I saw him in there with Fury in the first fight, just hanging on the rope. So he's always been gassed, but he's not going to get more cardio, is he? At 40 years old and battle worn. So I'd prefer not to see this. It's okay. Again, I'd rather watch Whyte versus... We haven't seen that before, right? Stars make fights. I'd rather see Whyte versus Joyce. I'd rather see Whyte versus Ngannou. I'd rather see Whyte versus Bakoli. I've got a video coming soon. They're now saying Zhang isn't fighting Bakoli, and Zhang, quite rightly in my opinion, wants to fight Joe Parker for the rematch, which was my base case. I want to see that. Equally though, I guess Dillian Whyte wants a middle fight. He fought a complete bum, Christian Hammer, who's been a journeyman for about 35, 40 years, for real. I mean, Hammer was a journeyman 10 years ago, right? I remember Fury having to go on him before the Vlad fight. He was a journeyman then. I'm thinking, how is Whyte fighting Hammer? Like, you're supposed to have had them fights. So Dillian Whyte fought Hammer. I guess he's thinking, before I go in there with a Bakoli or whatever, I want a Chisora fight. And it's... Well, Turkey's around now, though. Traditionally, you'd say Dillian Whyte versus Chisora generates more than Whyte versus Bakoli. But now, with the Turkey era, that's not the case. I'll be very surprised if Turkey pays... Well, Turkey is friends with Chisora though. But outside of that, in terms of business, there's no way. I don't want to see Whyte versus Chisora, to be quite frank. I just don't want to see it. We're all licking our lips though to see Whyte versus Bakole. Because Bakole will beat the brakes off Dillian Whyte. And they've had beef before. It's a new matchup. I know what I'm getting with Chisora and Whyte. Even more so now. Because Chisora's going to have no gas tank now. So, I don't think he's going to be able to be that offensive like he was in the second fight. I had him win in the second fight until he got knocked spark out. So yeah, there's a whole bag of names I'd rather see Dillian Whyte with. Joyce, Bakole, Ngannou, Wilder. Right? So Turkey right now needs to get in there. Don't make this fight. Give Dillian... Wilder versus Whyte is a co-main right now. Dillian Whyte versus Wilder is a co-main for the Fury card. For damn sure. And I think Wilder would take that fight. It's not completely irrelevant. It's not like Wilder versus Bakole. He might want to do Dillian Whyte some serious harm. Dillian Whyte was saying, yeah, I had to go on your ex-wife before you did. There's something there. Or better yet, Dillian Whyte versus Jarrell Miller. To be honest, I'd rather see Wilder versus Whyte. Wilder versus Whyte is my main one. But I'll take Whyte versus Miller. I'll take Whyte versus Bakole. Well, then again, them two. Wilder versus Whyte and Bakole versus Whyte. They have something there. Whyte versus Chisora, it in theory has something there. It's like a derby, but it's like, come on, we've seen it twice. It was like it was cool. Whyte versus Chisora was cool 10 years ago, essentially, at this point. Certainly over half a decade ago, it was cool. Now it's just like, damn. It's a bit like them Avenger films. Iron Man was cool, and then it's like, whoa, how many more of these will you got to keep doing? How many times can we see 5 corny dudes save the world? That's how I feel about Dillian Whyte versus Chisora fight. I think Dillian Whyte hasn't adjusted to the Turkey era. The Turkey era is, we make good fights, or it used to be. I did a video recently after the Beterbiev versus Bivol card was announced, and I said that I think we may have seen the peak of the Saudi season. Why? The undercards have fell off, man. The undercards have fell off. And they're becoming more like traditional boxing. Now, the pseudo-professional boxing heads tell me, oh, the fans are never happy, and there's an element of that, for sure. Oh, you just hating, man. Look at all the stars on the card. I'm not interested. Boxing has forever, well, particularly in the last 10, 20 years, we've never had a problem of seeing stars box. Yeah, we've been seeing Chris Ubambi fight bums. We've been seeing whoever else on the card who fighting bums. We've been seeing Shakur Sleepmanson fight bums. I'm not saying Cordine is a bum, but come on now. He a 10-1 underdog for a reason. We've been seeing Jaya Pataya fight bums and get half punched up by a 40-year-old Bradis. I've seen that. I don't want to see these guys. The whole point of Saudi season is to not have a big name versus a bum. We've had that. We can see Jaya Pataya fight any time versus a bum. It should be pure unifications at this point. What's the point of having a whole bunch of money if you're just going to pay Jaya Pataya to fight a bum? Or just going to pay Eubank to fight a bum? So don't tell me, oh, Saudi season's changed the game. No, there's only 2 50-50 fights on that card. And it's the main event, Beterbiev Bivol, and Clark versus Wardley. The rest, categorically, are 10-1 fights. That doesn't mean upsets can't happen, but it's not the point. The old cards, like for example, only look at the August card. You got Madrimov versus Crawford. People who knew the game knew it wasn't like I said at the time. It's not going to be as easy as people think it will. And it ended up being a 50-50 fight. You had Miller versus Ruiz. Bang. That was a 50-50 fight. I don't care what no one says. And it was. Bakole versus Anderson. 50-50 fight. That's how cards should be made. Look at the 5v5. Yeah? 50-50 fights the whole way through. With upsets in. I'll be very surprised if there's an upset, because it's just ridiculous. Shakur Stevenson, he's already said now. I like Cordina, but Shakur Stevenson said, I'm not going to try and fight aggressive anymore, as if he was doing that. He's literally going to come out and just nick the fight on points. So Cordina has no chance at all, right? You got Jay Pataya. I like Jack Massey as well, but I mean, I'd like to think Jack Massey get on him and work him, man, because he don't want to fight. Jay Pataya's got a lot of hype, yeah, but he don't want to fight. He doesn't. He was supposed to, yeah, and Brady's broke my jaw, and I'm going to get revenge in the second fight. He shit himself. Fact. Watch that fight. Jay Pataya was jumping on the spot and shit himself when Brady's put on him, all in the corner, like all bent out of shape. He didn't want to fight. So Jack Massey might be the upset. Jack Massey might go in there and just, because that fight, yeah, Jack Massey versus Chamberlain was a classic, to be quite frank. It didn't have the profile, but it was a banging fight. Two dudes in there tangling. That was proper boxing, that was. Love watching that. Opataya, he wants to clinch, or he wants to jump on the spot and fanny about. He's way too much hype for me. He's not like that. The way people have built him up, he ain't like that, in my opinion. Nonetheless, the odds are the odds, 10-1. It's very unusual for a 10-1 underdog to win. I'm trying to think the last time it happened. Oh, you'd probably have to go back to AJ and Ruiz or something like that. So it can happen. It's just not likely, and it shouldn't be the point. If I'm sitting there saying, oh, a magical moment may happen, someone may land a lucky punch. Unfortunately, Turkey, that's what boxing has been sold on for the last 10, 20 years. For the last 10, 20 years, we've heard in build-ups, yeah, but the B-side might get a lucky punch. He can punch, they say. That's how they've been selling it for 10 years. Yeah, whenever Eubanks fought a bum or whoever's fought a bum, they say, yeah, but this guy will come to fight and then he might clip him. That's all you've ever got. It's never a genuine intrigue like Ruiz versus Miller or Bacoli versus Anderson. No one really knew in either of them fights what was going to happen. Or Crawford versus Madrimov. Or the 5v5 cards. No one really knew what was going to happen, Dubois versus Hergovic. Or Wilder versus Zhang. That's what you need, intrigue. You don't need a card stacked with 10-1s. That's not supposed to be the point. Eddie Hearn, he been done them cards. Frank Warren, he been done them cards. So it's already starting to decline. Out of 8 fights, you've got 2 ones that are legitimate. The bulk of the card are filler fights. And it's not like, I get it. If you've got an up-and-coming generation that you need to pump up, we understand that. But Eubank is not up-and-coming. He shouldn't be having no more filler fights. Jay Pataya is not up-and-coming. He shouldn't be... Again, I'm not disrespecting Jack Massey. I'm just going really based on the odds. I'm hoping the Lord knows, I'm hoping Jack Massey put it on his ass and give him the smoke. But realistically speaking, it's 10-1. That's the fact. Yeah? Opataya don't need to be in no more 10-1 fights. That's for damn sure. Who else is there? Shakur Stevenson, man. He don't need to be in no more 10-1 fights against someone who just lost in his last fight. Right? Got stopped. So yeah. Dillian Whyte versus Chisora. It's lacking, man. At least offer it to Wilder. Shelley Winkle said he doesn't want to fight Okoli at Bridgerweight or whatever. At least Turkey, come out and offer Wilder. Wilder, we've got Dillian Whyte. What you saying? I want to hear that discussion have been had. Why not, man? If I had an unlimited amount of money, who don't want to see that? If Turkey's a legitimate boxing head, who don't want to see Whyte versus Wilder build up? Huh? Let's see how finished Wilder is. Let's see how finished Whyte is. Right? Let's see Bacoli. Let's get Bacoli on, man. If Bacoli can't fight Zhang, get him in there with Whyte. Well, again, what's the point of having money if you ain't going to make these fights we're actually begging for? We ain't begging. No one's begging to see Chisora versus Whyte. Yeah? There'll be a few pub heads. They're them pub ones. There'll be a few man who go to the pub on a Friday and Saturday night who'll be like, yeah, Chisora versus Whyte. That's because they're the only people they know, kind of thing. Yeah? The last time they watched boxing was Chisora versus Whyte too, so they want to see the point. But if you're in the game like Turkey claims to be, you know no one wants to see this. You know you don't. So do what I've told you to do. Put me on. You need people. Turkey. You need an event coordinator. That's probably the wrong word. You need a matchmaker is what you need. And it's the YB, unfortunately. Yeah, it is. These men don't know what they're doing. Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren have kind of leached onto your operation, and they've turned it into let's pay our top fighters a whole bunch of Turkey's money to fight bums. Great. Right? Because Eddie Hearn's taking 20% of that and there's no risk. That's what Eddie Hearn wants. Eddie Hearn wants you to get paid massive Saudi money and have none of his fighters beat him. Wicked. Great, Turkey. You can pay our fighters 5 times more than we can pay them to fight a bum. Who's got a problem here? Turkey, you need someone independent. You need someone to represent the fan in the matchmaking. Right now, you've got 2, Frank Warren and Eddie, they ain't got no skin in the game in terms of the fans. They just want to see their fighters fight bums and get paid. That's what the evidence is showing now. If you look at the trend of the cards, this November ones fell off bad. No doubt. Anyway, let me know your thoughts, people. Smash the like button, subscribe. Let off the bell, 100%. There's no doubt about this one, people. Stop it.